What's up, guys? Welcome to Movie Emporium's Top 10 Countdown, where we take movies and subjects and count down from 10 to 1. If you like what you see, remember to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button at the top, or comment below on any of these videos. So, we have the Lion King remake coming out this week. It's going to be huge, make a lot of money. I hope you also enjoyed my 1994 Lion King review, as well as my repost of the Tony West interview I did last year. So what I wanted to do is this week I'm going to do a couple top 10 videos. Today I'm going to focus on heroes and villains, and then tomorrow I'm going to do the Renaissance era, which is from 1989 to 1999, counting down as well. And what I'm going to do here is, instead of doing a top 10 for each version of those characters, I'm going to do a top 5 for each one. So I'm going to do 5 villains and 5 heroes, as well as 2 honorable mentions. And that way it kind of makes for a much easier video to do, because there's a lot of villains and a lot of heroes, and it's a lot of things to talk about. So I figure I'd just do top 5 of each. So but yeah, so what we'll do is we'll start with the heroes first, and then go to the villains and back and forth, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, so on and so forth. So with that, we'll go ahead and start on the hero side with the honorable mention. That honorable mention is, so you guys know my passion for Aladdin. It's one of my favorite animated movies of all time. Aladdin, who is the quote-unquote hero of this movie outside of the genie, is a great character. He's a fun character. He's energetic. He does a lot of parkour. He's like the perfect hero. Is my honorable mention, because I don't think he's as good as the top 5 that I'm going to talk about, but I think he fits in that mold of perfect heroes that have great story arcs. He goes from a street rat to a prince, all in an 80-minute period, and he's voiced perfectly, and he just has great chemistry with the genie and the princess, and he gets the princess at the end of the day. He defeats Jafar, but I just don't think he is as good as the top 5. So it doesn't make him a bad character. I just think there's 5 others that are better. So, but with that, we'll move on to the villain side, and the honorable mention is, so on the villain side, the honorable mention I'm going to go with is the villain from 101 Dalmatians, and that is Cruella de Vil. I like Cruella de Vil. I think she's a great villain. I think she's a very harsh villain. She's a disturbed villain. She gets angry really quickly, and she's just mean, and that's kind of her faults, the keeping her out of the top 5, because I think she's a little too mean. I mean, it's a little graphic of what she's trying to do, which is kill a bunch of puppies for a fur coat. And I think she still embodies what a great Disney villain is, because you look at all the classic 40s and 30s and 50s villains like Maleficent and and so on and so forth, and she fits in there perfectly. I just don't think she's as perfect as my top 5. So she still gets an honorable mention, because I still think she's fun to watch, and she has a couple of great henchmen. But just in general, I think she's still considered an honorable mention. So, but with that, move into our top 5, which is number 5 on the hero side, which is, so when you hear the words "off to Neverland," you think of Peter Pan, of course. And the Peter Pan, the character himself, is a great hero. He's combative. He's free willing. He's young at heart. He's willing to go the extra step to protect his people, the Lost Boys. And he has an infatuation for Wendy and her brothers. And he's just perfect. He's, a goofy character, but he just fits in this world so perfectly and so ingeniously. And it's just such a fun character to watch, when he interacts with the Indian tribe and when he acts with Captain Hook. There's such a great chemistry between him and Hook that it fits in this world perfectly, and he fits in that microcosm of what the 40s and 50s of Disney animation was trying to do, which was give us great characters. And Peter Pan has always been there. It's been there since the 1800s. Walt Disney did a perfect job of giving us a childlike hero in a kind of an adult body, and it's a perfect character, well done, and stands the test of time and the ages. So we'll move on to the villain side, which number 5 is. So number 5 is from Beauty and the Beast, and of course is Gaston. Gaston is the most ridiculous villain in my list. I think he is over the top. He cares about himself too much, but he is very disturbed and dark. He wants to kill that beast, and he will do everything he can. And he's also trying to get, Belle to be his wife. And he just has some great moments. He has some great songs. And his death is actually impactful, because it's a guy that's really trying to go for something, but he is so committed to trying to do it that it fails on him in every facet. And he has LaFleur, who is like his sidekick, and it's just a perfect sidekick. And everything about Gaston in general is just perfect in every sense of the word. And he, like you said, he's just like a real buff guy and a real tough guy. But he, you know, in aspect, he's just a weird, goofy character that I really love. And he has, you know, his thing. And, you know, it is what it is. I love it. I think he's a great character. So number 5 is Gaston. And we'll move on back over to the hero side for number 4, which is... Now, I'm not a huge fan of the Hunchback of Notre Dame. I like it. I think it's fun. I think it has that gothic feel. It's very of its time, of like, this could have been out in the 40s. But the character Quasimodo has such heart, has such feeling to him, how he cares for Esmeralda, and just the fact that he will go to lengths to protect people is just a fascinating character. You know, he's disfigured, he's, you know, made fun of, he lives in a bell tower, he is just the perfect character to get an emotional character arc, and he just will save anybody he can. And it's fun and beautiful to watch. And Quasimodo just, Tom Hulce, who plays the voice of Quasimodo, just perfectly embodies who this character is, which is somebody who is beautiful on the inside out rather than the outside, and that's what people see in him. And when he saves the day at the end, it's a perfect ending and perfect fitting to a movie that, like I said, I'm not entirely 100% with, but his character just rises above everything that can happen in a movie. So with that, that's number 4 with Quasimodo. So we'll move back over to the villain side with number 4, which is... I was going to put Jafar higher on my list. Then I found these other characters. I'm like, you know what? Jafar is still such a great villain that he needs to be in my top 5. So I put him at number 4. Jafar is a character who gets it done, and he does it with manipulation, with his staff, with Iago. And he is just such a great co-arc with Aladdin himself. You know, he does what he needs to do, and the way he just like goes at it is perfect. The way he uses people is perfect. The way he's able to manipulate Sultan, the princess, and when they see through it, and when he finally gets what he wants, it's not what he was expecting. That's what's so great about his end up character arc, where he's just you know, he's gonna fail, but he does it with such pizzazz and such just reverent fervor. It's a beautiful character and done so well, and then played up so much better as well in the sequel. I think it was Return of Jafar or something like that. But it's just such a great character, and it's such a great villain, and how detestable he is, and how just like manipulative he is, and it's beautiful. So, but with that, we'll move on to the number 3 hero, which is... So this is one that you guys probably weren't expecting. I like Atlantis: The Lost Empire. I think it's a fun movie. I think in that period between 99 or 2000 to when they start doing like the Frozens and so on and so forth, this movie I think is fun. I think it's exciting. I think it's a little too dark for its own good, but most Disney films kind of get to this point. But I love Miles Thatch. He is a fantastic character. He is nerdy. He is empowering. He's kind of like the James Spader from Stargate, and he still has this fantastic character arc where he has to go in and save the day using book smarts and using the people to help him, you know, the people in Atlantis. And when he eventually stays, he gets his, you know, his final due. And it's just, I think Michael J. Fox embodies who Miles Thatch is, and is such a perfect Disney hero because he's a shrimp and he's skimpy and he's a nerd and he's not everything you think of a hero, but he inside, like Quasimodo, he is still the hero that we deserve, that we don't get in a lot of, you know, a lot of times the heroes in these movies, and especially the anime movies, are big buff, you know, Hercules style characters. I like Hercules, but I don't like the character that much. I think he's just a little too off the wall and so on and so forth. But I just think Miles Thatch is just perfect and just great, and I think he fits the hero mold perfectly and has done real well. And I wish this movie got a lot more love than it does. But for what it's worth, I think Miles Thatch is a great Disney hero. So, but we'll move on to number 3 villain, which is... So you can't have Peter Pan without Captain Hook. Captain Hook is an amazing character. He is the goofiest character in the world. I love him for that. He is always trying to take down Peter Pan, but he's afraid of a crocodile who took his hand. That's why he's Captain Hook. And the ticking and the noise and so forth when the crocodile is coming towards him, the fact that how scared he gets is just beautiful and fantastic and amazing. And I love Hook so much. I think, you know, the renditions of stuff like in the movie Hook that Steven Spielberg did was perfect. It was over the top and overzealous. You know, his henchman Smee is another perfect character. But I think Hook wouldn't work without Peter Pan, but I think he still is a perfect villain because he is willing and trying to take down the hero, but in little bits and pieces can't do it. And that's what we want out of these Disney villains. We don't want them to succeed. We want them to fail. And he does it in spectacular fashion. At the very end, he's being chased by the crocodile, and the crocodile ticking his clock in his hand and whatever. But it's a fun villain. It's worth, watching. And that's why Peter Pan is such a great film, because of these two characters. So, but we'll move on to our number 2 hero, which is, so number 2 is Simba. I was number 2 and number 1 could flip back and forth. I was actually going back and forth on who I wanted to be number 2, who I want to be number 1. But Simba is a perfect representation of a character who has to learn to become who he is instead of who he wants to be. And that's not always necessarily easy. You can say, I want to be this, but you have to be that. And he has to realize that he has to protect the people that care most about him. And he does that in like the most weird way possible. But when he does it, and when he accepts it, and when he takes on his Uncle Scar, that moment is so powerful and so insanely good that Scar is just a brilliant, or I'm sorry, Simba is just a brilliant hero and just a brilliant take. And Matthew Broderick does a nice job with the voice work on it. And you can hear most of this in my 1994 review of Lion King. But Simba is just a character that you grow to love in the 88 minutes that you watch it. And, there's nothing else more you can say. It's a perfect hero character, and he learns his lesson and he improves upon it. So, but with that, we'll move on to number 2 on our villains section, which is, so I truly believe Little Mermaid is one of the most perfect anime movies of all time. It's a fantastic film. It's filled with great music. It's just perfect. The villain in this movie is absolutely fantastic. Ursula is insane and just great. It's just beautiful. She is going to do whatever it takes to succeed by taking the voice of Ariel and manipulating Ariel into basically making Ursula fall in love with Prince Eric. And oh my god, it's just like so disturbing to watch how good this character role is. When she uses her eels to kind of like wrangle in and kind of manipulate Ariel, and then she takes her voice and then she throws her on the beach because she gives her legs, and then she uses that to take over the Triton, and King Triton and his Triton, and so on and so forth. It's just, those are the types of villains you want to see. Villains that are willing to do everything it takes and succeeding but still failing. And the ending to this, when she becomes a big sea urchin and she gets stabbed by a boat, and how she uses like a hurricane style force winds, it's an amazing villain and just perfect. And it's great voice acted and just fantastic. So that's my number 2 with the villains, which leads me into number 1 of the heroes, which is, so when I was doing this list and I was going through and I was like, who are the top 5 heroes? Like I said, the number 2 and number 1 could switch, so you could put Simba at number 1. But number 1 on my list, of course, is the Beast. The Beast is a character who was not a very good person, got put into this role of a beast, a creature, and has to be redeemed with the love of Belle, and he does it so perfectly. The transformation of Beast to who he needs to be is insanely mesmerizing. I mean, it's the reason the Beauty and the Beast is so well beloved, because the Beast is a character you don't want to root for, but you kind of feel pity for. You kind of feel sad for. I mean, most of these characters you see, the heroes, you feel sad for in some ways. And the fact that his redemptive arc to taking on Gaston and sacrificing himself for the love of Belle, it's inspiring, and it's gorgeous, and it's just riveting to watch. And the voice work is so mesmerizing to watch. And I thought it was a little ruined by the live action version, but I think it's a perfect fitting for what a hero is, where they become reluctant or they're just pitiful in the beginning, and then they find their arc. And that's what a hero needs to be. It needs to have that redemptive arc to succeed and to become a better person. So that's why I feel personally that the Beast is number 1. Like I said, Everybody is different. You could put the beast somewhere else. You couldn't even have him on your list for all I know. So, but with that, we'll move on to our number one villain, which is... So if you watched my Lion King review, you know I was going to come up with this as my number one, but Scar is perfect as a villain. He's one of my favorite villains of all time. This guy is so angry and so frustrated and just so mad at his own family that he is willing to kill his own brother to take over the throne of the Pride Lands. And then he blames his nephew. I mean, how much more of a villain can you be? And how much more dark can you be? And Be Prepared is almost like a dissertation of what Scar is about, who he is, how far he is willing to go. And the fact that, you know, Simba, who, like I said, I put as number 2, stands up to him, shows how scared everybody was and how much a villain he needs to be to fall to get that arc that Simba needs. And that's why he fits perfectly into that arc of a villain and going up against a hero. And then when he gets his role in the Pride Lands and kind of destroys it, that's what a villain is. That's what a villain needs to be. And that's why Scar is such an amazing villain. And Jeremy Irons is perfect. I mean, you can't say any more. I don't know how Chiwetel Ejiofor is going to do with Scar, but Jeremy Irons just envelops this role, and this is why Scar is my number one villain of the Disney animation. Not Pixar, all that good stuff, but Disney proper animation. So, but that'll do it. That'll be my top 5 of heroes and villains. I hope you enjoyed it. Comment below and tell me what your top 5 of heroes and villains are. Also, honorable mentions if you want. Like I said, I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with me. That's fine. That's what this list is about. Find out what you guys like and what I like. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button at the top, and that'll do it. So we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out. What's up, guys? Thank you so much for checking out Movie Emporium. I really appreciate it. If you want to, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification button and the bell at the top. Find out what's coming next for Movie Emporium. Also, check out these 2 videos. They're amazing. I think they're awesome. I think you'll enjoy them too. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.